Hello, over the YouTube fans. It's that time of day when I read and you listen. This is 24. She counted down the seconds as she'd been for the past 2 days, 1 second at a time, 60 times a minute, 3,600 times an hour, 86,400 times a day. She knew they'd be coming, on time, just as promised. And now it was Harley's turn. She reached into her mouth and carefully pulled out a long jailhouse knife. The culmination of the world's greatest sword-swallowing act. She drew it out slowly, cautiously. Each second was torture to her. Normally, she wasn't someone who believed in taking her time. Harley Quinn liked to act the instant she got an idea, like now. Still, the woman who had been Harleen Quinzel understood, better than most, the concept of delayed gratification. Pull the blade out fast, like she really wanted, and the odds were she'd give herself a fatal tonsillectomy. Now, Mr. J might want her to go through life without saying a word, but Harley didn't much like the idea. Just as the blade's tip cleared her lips, she heard footsteps approaching, right on time. The riot squad stopped in front of her cage, their weapons aimed and ready. She gave them her sweetest, "You got me, copper," smile and raised her hands in submission.
"I'm cooperating,"
she said instantly.
"Look, it's me being cool. See? Harmless."
Cautiously, they opened the cell. Without saying a word, they fired their tasers. She was ready. Harley spun out of the way of most, but 2 or 3 slammed her in the back. This gave her time to twist and pull the shiv from its hiding place in her sleeve. In a single, elegant dance, she whirled and stabbed the closest guard. She recognized him. Milo, she thought. Perfect. I didn't like the way he leered at me. Only Mr. J gets to do that. He gurgled, clutched his throat, and dropped to the ground while she giggled. Another group stepped up and tasered her. This time she couldn't dodge. They strapped her to the restraint chair and immobilized her arms, legs, chest, and neck. A gag was tied around her mouth. She liked that. It was something Mr. J might do. They wheeled her down a long corridor that took her to the Belle Reve airstrip. Outside, she recognized many of the faces lining the path, guards with whom Harleen Quinzel had worked, and others she got to know better as Harley. Mixed in with the guards were soldiers, armed, grim. That was new. She'd never seen any of them before. There was a big plane waiting out there, and a military helicopter hovering overhead. As they moved toward it, some distance away, Griggs came running from the prison. She wished he'd been the one to get the shiv and not poor dead Milo. Before he could reach the group, though, they stopped in front of a group of medics. They grabbed her head and held it in place, while one of them held a medical wand to her spine. Another opened the pelican case he was carrying, a Van Chris Labs label on his side, while yet another removed an injector gun from it and held it up to her neck. She tried to resist, but whatever it was, he injected it into her with pinpoint precision. Harley screamed through her gag. She'd never felt anything quite that painful before, and it was no fun at all. She swore she'd die rather than go through that again. The medic operating the portable wand checked some readings and gave a thumbs up. A bandage was placed over the wound on her neck, signaling the guards to wheel her towards the plane. Griggs ran toward the C-17 Globemaster, but found his way blocked when a different crew of soldiers wheeled yet another restraint chair toward the Special Forces medics. Deadshot was strapped into this one. The prison captain cursed his luck. He had to get past the guards, but his way was still blocked. He had to get past the guards, so he'd have to bide his time and wait for an opening. It better come fast, though. He had to do what Joker had ordered him to do. Otherwise, well, he didn't even want to consider the alternative. Deadshot struggled, but couldn't move an inch in any direction. These guys were pros. One of them held up an injection gun. Disappointingly, Lawton didn't scream, but his whole body shuddered. Griggs just stared at him. One day I'm going to put a bullet right between that bastard's eyes. But today wasn't that day. The guards wheeled him away. Diablo was next. He was already unconscious when he was wheeled into place, fire-retardant blankets wrapped around him. That was a good idea, Griggs mused. If the man was conscious and decided to play games, he could pretty much incinerate everything within a 5-mile radius. He'd done it before. There was an IV strapped to his arm. A heart monitor was in place. If he began to stir, they'd know it immediately. And additional sedatives would be pumped into his system. He was brought to the medic holding the injector. The man was recognizably nervous as he placed it to Diablo's neck. He activated the injector. Diablo shook for a moment, then fell back into blissful unconsciousness. The medic let out a sigh of relief as he was wheeled away. About 2 minutes later, Croc was brought into position. Unlike the others, he was chained upright into a small forklift. No restraint chair could possibly hold him. He roared as the medic approached, but the chains holding him were made of unforgiving and unbreakable promethium-infused steel. The medic placed the injector to Croc's neck, near his spine, and fired it. Croc bellowed in pain, but the chains held. Then the medic scanned him, checked the results, gave a thumbs up, and the monster was taken away. The medic collapsed into a folding chair and reached for a cold bottle of water. Griggs knew how he felt. but he had bigger fish to fry. Better the fish than him. He watched from behind the barriers, pissed off that his best prisoners were being taken away from him, and no one knew the hell why. To the truth to tell, he didn't care about most of them, but he desperately needed to get to Harley. The guards pushed a restraint chair toward the jet's ramp and waited there. If Griggs delayed any longer, he'd never have another chance. He rushed over just as they started up the ramp. Leaning in close, he whispered in her ear. "You're being transferred," he hissed. "I don't know where." He pressed something in her hand. "It's from Mr. J. Take it. He wanted you to have it." It was a tiny cell phone with a jeweled letter J on it. Tears welled up in her eyes. Walking alongside her chair, Griggs gave her his best warm, hopeful, bullshit smile. "Please tell me I was good. Please tell him I was good to you." Harley grinned at him. "You are so screwed," she hissed back, and she laughed. Griggs stopped in his tracks, and his face turned white with fear. He wanted to apologize for all the crap he'd pulled and beg her for a break, but the guards wheeled Harley up the ramp to the Globe Master's cargo hold. A dozen armed military personnel stood ready to receive her. They all looked dour, so she grinned at them with her sunniest, happiest smile. "I love field trips. Hope you boys do too." Harley's chair was chained to a wall alongside the others, who were already inside. The guards took their seats and strapped themselves in. The ramp was pulled into the plane, and the hatch was sealed behind it. A moment later, they lifted off the runway and roared into the sky. Harley looked at the others and laughed. "So this is the freak flight, huh?" she said brightly. "Well, I don't know about you, but I'm happy to have the company." She leaned her head back and closed her eyes. A moment later, she opened them again. "Hey, you know if we get if we get snacks in this place, I am starving."